HTTP headers. HTTP headers let the client and the server pass additional information with an HTTP request or response. An HTTP header consists of its case-insensitive name followed by a colon, then by its value. White space before the value is ignored. Custom proprietary headers have historically been used with an X prefix, but this convention was deprecated in June 2012 because of the inconveniences it caused when non-standard fields became standard in RFC 6648. Others are listed in IANA registry, whose original content was defined in RFC 4229. IANA also maintains a registry of proposed new HTTP headers, and you can check out all these links to these articles. Headers can be grouped according to their context. So we have request headers, contains more information about the resource to be fetched or about the client requesting the resource. We also have the response headers, hold additional information about the response, like its location or about the server providing it. We have representation headers, contain information about the body of the resource, like the MIME type or encoding compression applied. We have the payload headers that contains representation independent information about payload data, including content, length, and the encoding used for transport. Headers can also be grouped according to how proxies handle them. So we have connection, we have keep alive, we have proxy authenticate, we have proxy authorization, TE, trailer, transfer encoding, and upgrade. And you have the link for all these concepts. So let's check out, for example, connection. You have all of this information here. I'm gonna put the links in the video. So end-to-end headers. These headers must be transmitted to the final recipient of the message, the server for a request or the client for a response. Intermediate proxies must retransmit these headers and modify, and caches must store them. So hub by hub headers. These headers are meaningful only for a single transport level connection and must not be retransmitted by proxies or cached. Note that only hub by hub headers may be set using the connection header. Now we're gonna see authentication. We are checking out HTTP headers. This is just a general overview, but this is very important. So when we are dealing with, for example, the get method, get, post, update, delete, so this is the text, so this is the information, the concept that we need to understand. Authentication, we have the www-authenticate defines the authentication method that should be used to access a resource. In every concept we have the link, so you can check out these links later on. We have authorization, contains the credentials to authenticate a user agent with a server. We have proxy authenticate, defines the authentication method that should be used to access a resource behind a proxy server. We have proxy authorization that contains the credentials to authenticate a user agent with a proxy server. Now we're gonna see caching. We have age, the time in seconds that the object had been in a proxy cache. We have cache control, directives for caching mechanisms in both requests and responses. We have clear site data, clears browsing data, e.g. cookies, storage, cache associated with the requesting website. We have expires, the date time after which the response is considered stale. We have pragma, implementation specific header that may have various effects anywhere along the request response chain, used for backwards compatibility with HTTP/1.0 caches where the cache control header is not yet present. We have the warning, general warning, information about possible problems. Now we're gonna see here client hints. So we have HTTP client hints are a set of request headers that provide useful information about the client, such as device type and network conditions, and allow servers to optimize what is served for those conditions. Servers proactively request the client hint headers they are interested in from the client using accept-ch. The client may then choose to include the requested headers in subsequent requests. Accept-ch. Servers can advertise support for client hints using the accept-ch header field or an equivalent HTML meta element with an HTTP equivalent attribute. We have the accept-ch lifetime. Servers can ask the client to remember the set of client hints that the server supports for a specific period of time to enable delivery of client hints on subsequent requests to the server's origin. We have critical ch. Servers use critical ch along with accept-ch to specify that accepted client hints are also critical client hints. The different categories of client hints are listed below. So we have the user agent client hints. The UA client hints are request headers that provide information about the user agent, the platform architecture it is running on, and user preference set on the user agent or platform. We have the sec-ch prefers reduced motion, user agents reduce motion preference setting. We have the sec-ch UA, users agents branding and version. We have the sec-ch UA arch, user agents underlying platform architecture. We have the sec-ch UA bitness, user agents underlying CPU architecture bitness, for example the 64-bit. We have the sec-ch UA full version, user agents full semantic version string. We have the sec-ch UA full version list, full version for each brand and the user agents brand list. We have the sec-ch UA mobile. User agent is running on a mobile device or more generally prefers a mobile user experience. We have the sec-ch UA model, user agents device model. We have the sec-ch UA platform, users agents underlying operation systems platform. We have the sec-ch UA platform version, user agents underlying operation system version. And now we're gonna see the device client hints. So we have the content DPR, response header used to confirm the image device to pixel ratio and request where the DPR client hint was used to select an image resource. We have the device memory, approximate amount of available client RAM memory. This is part of the device memory API. We have the DPR, client device pixel ratio DPR, which is the number of physical device pixels corresponding to every CSS pixel. We have the viewport width, a number that indicates the layout viewport width and CSS pixels. The provided pixel value is a number rounded to the smallest following integer, i.e. ceiling value. We have the width, a number that indicates the desired resource width and physical pixels, intrinsic size of an image. Now we're gonna see network client hints. Network client hints allow a server to choose what information is sent based on the user choice and network bandwidth and latency. So we have the downlink, approximates bandwidth of the client's connection to the server in megabytes. This is part of the network information API. We have the ECT, the effective connection type network profile that best matches the connection's latency and bandwidth. This is part of the network information API. We have the RTT, application layer round trip time, RTT, in milliseconds, which includes the server processing time. This is part of the network information API. We have the save data, a boolean that continues or that indicates the user's agent's preference for reduced data usage. And now we're gonna see the conditionals. Last modify. The last modification date of the resource used to compare several versions of the same resource. It is less accurate than ETAG but easier to calculate. In some environments, conditional requests using if modified sense and if unmodified sense use this value to change the behavior of the request ETAG, a unique string identifying the version of the resource. Conditional requests using if match and if non-match use this value to change the behavior of the request. If match makes the request conditional and applies the method only if the stored resource matches one of the given ETAGs. If non-match makes the request conditional and applies the method only if the stored resource doesn't match any of the given ETAGs. This is used to update caches for safe requests or to prevent uploading a new resource when one already exists. If modified sense makes the request conditional and expects the resource to be transmitted only if it has been modified after the given date. This is used to transmit data only when the cache is out of date. If unmodified sense makes the request conditional and expects the resource to be transmitted only if it has not been modified after the given date. This ensures that the coherence of a new fragment of a specific range with previous one, or to implement an optimistic concurrency to control system when modifying existing documents. We have vary determines how to match request headers to decide whether a cache response can be used rather than requesting a fresh one from the origin server.